Hey there, nation, and welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and we are back with our very first episode of Season 2 of Anarchy Road. Anarchy Road is our series of battle reports dedicated to Necromunda Ash Wastes, and this is our campaign setting from the official rule set for Games Workshop, and this is episode number 1. It is a Bone Road race scenario that is played between myself with my chain breakers, my Nurgle Corrupted Slave Ogryns, versus my little sister the Kiddo versus the Jury of House Orlock. So both our gangs have custom selection of 6 fighters per piece, and what we're going to do is, of course, is race across the entirety of the table and make it to the finish line. The game lasts 8 different rounds. The first one to make it to the end is the winner, who wins fame as well as fortune. So that being said, we're going to play some background music real quick. As the music is playing, we'll talk about the scenario rules for this battle report, as well as show you the photos as well as rosters of both gangs. We'll be right back after this.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dying times here.
So the scenario rules for this one's called the Bone Road Death Race. It takes place in the near waste, and for the season is taking place in the season of flame, which means that with the soaring temperatures, we have a 24-inch visibility rules in effect. Now the battle type is a rolling roads battle, and we have a custom selection of 6 fighters per crew. Now for the deployment on this one, you start the entire gang with the highest gang rating. They take alternating turns deploying them within 12 inches of the trailing edge. No model can be placed within 1 inch of an enemy model. Now the gang tactics on this one, you can have up to 2 gang tactics for every 100 points of difference, but since we're both starting out, we don't really need to worry about gang tactics too much. Now the victory conditions is if a model is close to the leading edge, that the winner. Otherwise, it's a draw, and the rolling roads rules are in effect at the end of every turn. At the same time, the race lasts 8 rounds, depending on the round number determines the effect. So for rounds 1 through 2, the battlefield has impassable sides. Rounds 3 through 4, battlefield has open sides. Rounds 5 through 6, battlefield has cliff sides, and rounds 7 and 8, the battlefield has cliff sides with ash crusts, and a vehicle moves less than 8 inches, they fall through and go out of action, and you roll for lasting injuries and lasting damage. Now for the rewards on this one, if you manage to win the Bone Road Death Race, you manage to earn 4d6 times 10 credits to the winner, and for experience you get 1 point of experience for each participant, as well as plus d3 experience for the model that ends the battle closest to the leading edge. Now for reputations on this one, you earn d3 points of reputation for the winner, and if either gang bottles out, you also suffer 1 point of reputation. So the scenario rules over with, let's go and talk about our deployments. Alright, so let's go and start deployment real quick for my gang, the Chain Breakers. Up on the front, we have our vehicle, the Dire Song. It is ran by a Scum Racer. It's a custom heavy vehicle with tracks. It's also got extra heavy armor, as well as a ram. It's also got a transport bed, all-wheeled steering, tire claws, nitro burners, smoke vents, as well as a harpoon launcher, as well as a heavy stubber. Now, right next to it is my vehicle, Flotsam. It's also driven by a Scum Racer. It is also a custom medium vehicle. It's got tracks as well. It's also got a grenade launcher with frag and crack grenades. It also has a transport bed, nitro burners for additional speed, smoke vents, as well as boarding ramps. Now on board my vehicle, of course, I have 2 fighters. Up in the center there, we have Fistimus the Bellman, who's my overboss. He's got an armor undersuit, furnace plates, twin arc welders, blasting charges, a bio booster. He's also got the runaway special rule, as well as the iron will skill. And in front of him is Septimus the Plague Sworn. He's my other underboss. He's got an armored undersuit, as well as a furnace plates. He's got a last cutter, as well as augmatic fist. He's got blasting charges, as well as the Nargos skill. And in the back on the left hand side is Golgok the Butcher, who's another of my underbosses. He's got an armored undersuit, furnace place, paired axes. He's also got blasting charges, as well as a bull charge skill. And right next on the right hand side, that is Fecula Flyblown. She is a Slave Ogryn with an armored undersuit and furnace plates. She's packing a storm welder, as well as a spud jacket for a close combat weapon, and she's also got the loyal, limited learning capacity, and runaway special rules, as well as a headbutt skill, and that makes it my deployment for this one. Up next is the Jury of House Orlock. So first of all, I'll start with their vehicles. On the right-hand side, that is Tango and Cash. They are a pair of Iron Riders who are equipped with stub guns and dum-dum rounds, as well as photo goggles. They're running an Outrider quad with a redundant drive system, a heavy bolter. They also got the Agile, dedicated gunner, as well as wheeled special rules. Down the center is their vehicle that's called the Rumbler. It is operated by a Guild of Coin hauler. It is a Guild of Coin Cargo 8 Ridge hauler with all-wheel steering. The Guild Caller also has photo goggles. The vehicle is also equipped with a Minotaur armor container with twin storm bolters. It's also got the transport bed, wheeled, valuable cargo, as well as trading run and varied cargo special rules. Now, leading this vehicle on the top, this handsome Jack Riptor. He's the road captain. He's got mesh armor as well as a combat shotgun with shredder and salvo round. He's armed with a stub gun with dum-dum rounds. He's got the 2PD for Primus as well as the Overseer skill. Right behind him is Jinx, the road sergeant. She's got mesh armor as well as a heavy bolter with dispenser. She's packing a stub gun with dum-dum rounds, a photo goggles. She's also got the Iron Stare as well as Nerves of Steel skill. And up in the front of the vehicle, we have on the left-hand side Vi. She's an arms master. She's got mesh armor as well as an arc hammer. She's got a stub gun with dum-dum rounds as well as the Iron Stare, big name. She's got Rule of Iron special rule as well as Nerves of Steel skill. And right next on the right hand side is Lemonhead. He's a gunner specialist. He's got mesh armor, a grenade launcher with frag and crack grenades. He's also packing a stub gun with dum-dum rounds, and he's also the gang specialist. And that makes a deployment for this one. Alright, so now that we're done talking about our scenario rules as well as our deployments real quick, let's talk about the battle plan. The battle plan is pretty simple in this one. It's just a race, so whoever makes it across the battlefield first will be the one who actually gets the finish line on this one. Now, I do have my work cut out for me, and the reason why is because both of my vehicles are tracked, so I am a little bit slower than my opponent. I also have a heavy custom vehicle as well as a tracked medium vehicle, while my opponent, the Kiddo, has the Cargo 8 Ridge hauler as well as an Outrider quad. So these vehicles were faster than mine. However, mine actually has a lot of strength and toughness as well as a lot of firepower as well. My plan here, oddly enough, is to actually have my little Flotsam guy over here, have him move across the battlefield as quick as he can and try and make it directly to the end of the race, so that way he wins. He does have a grenade launcher on his vehicle, so hopefully I can cause some problems that way. I do have to worry about the number of storm bolters and heavy bolters that this gang has for the jury, because these guys are made for shooting, so I do have to worry about that. But my plan here is actually try to board her vehicle and actually try to take out her fighters individually that way, so that way my guys are freed up to actually move around. The only X factor in this, of course, is the Outrider quad. It is wicked fast, so I'm going to have to do my darndest in order to try to stop that from actually trying to make it to the finish line. And that's pretty much what my battle plan is. Just kind of use brute force ignorance, something that ogres, and especially Slave Ogryns, are really good at doing, and hopefully I can stop my opponent from making it to the finish line. So with that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 1, and both my sister and I, the Kiddo and I, roll off for initiative to see which of us has priority. Okay, so that takes directly to the top of turn number 1, and this is after the Kiddo's very first activation. She managed to get the initiative on this one. So the first thing she did, of course, is that she took her leader, handsome Jack Riptor, uses Overseer ability off directly onto the two crew members, Butch and Sundance. Butch and Sundance, of course, are Tango and Cash, Tango and Cash are the Outrider crew that actually holds, actually has a heavy bolt on the vehicle. Managed to put the Overseer on this ability on this vehicle, so because it actually took 2 simple actions to move up 18 inches away from the deployment zone directly to the middle of the battlefield. And then my little sister, the Kiddo, realized she could actually just burn roll by doing a double turn to make her vehicle travel 3 times as far, just going straight away. There's nothing in the blocking her path, so because that she's able to race right through it. And so because that puts her dangerously close directly to the end of the race, so that part was absolutely insane. So that part was totally brutal. Did not see that coming. Now, because she used her Captain Jack Riptor, handsome Jack Riptor, does a group activation, has Vi actually attack with her arc hammer directly into Flotsam. Luckily for me, though, she did manage to hit, but she failed to wound. I was able to save my armor save. Rolled a 5 on that one, so I got extremely lucky because that arc hammer has a 3-inch melee versatile trait. Was going to put it directly onto Flotsam. And then, of course, the last of the group activation was directly towards the Rumbler, which was the Guild of Coin hauler, which is the Cargo 8 Ridge hauler. Did a double movement forward, moving up twice. Sorry, not twice. Did a double action to burn rubber, basically, to move up forward, going 3 times movement allowance up to 21 inches. So that part was absolutely insane. Did not see that one coming whatsoever. So that part is brutal. I am getting left in the dust on this one. So that being said, we go directly to the top of my activation for my gang, the Chainbreakers. We'll be right back after my first initial set of activations. Alright, so that takes directly to the bottom, the turn number 1 for my activation. So as you can see here, the first thing I do is I activate Festivus the Bellman, who uses his group activation to move a couple of vehicles forward. First of all, Flotsam does a double movement forward, moving as quick as he can in order to catch up to Butch and Tango and Cash, so we could take those guys out and stop them from winning the race. Meanwhile, I then put another activation directly onto my driver, the Dire Song, which is my heavyweight vehicle. It does a ramming action, smashing directly to the back of the Cargo 8 Ridge Hauler. Unfortunately for me, my Strength 7 hit against it wasn't good enough to get past the 8 toughness on the Cargo Ridge Hauler, but that was perfectly fine, because what that did is that put me in distance for Festivus the Bellman to actually do a boarding action. So he does a basic action to leap directly out of the vehicle, passes no problem because I have a 2-up initiative with my boarding ramps, and I do a basic fight action directly onto Jinx the Champion. I have twin arc welders for my leader, so because there was no difficulty whatsoever, managed to put her out of action with a head injury, so because that she will lose 1 intelligence, 1 willpower, and she automatically goes into recovery, so she will miss out her next game. And that pretty much makes up my activation for that part. So with that being said, we go back to the kiddo for her next series of activations. Alright, so that takes directly to the end, rest of the turn number 1. For the most part, the kiddo then activated Lemon Head. He did try to fire a crack grenade directly into my Flotsam, but unfortunately he failed to wound, so I'm perfectly fine there. Flotsam is kind of rocked a little bit, but other than that though, perfectly fine from there. Now for the rest of the turn, pretty much because all of our fighters were activated, pretty much left up to me. So from there I then sent in Golgok the Butcher. He does a boarding action, managed to pass his initiative test, managed to put 2 wounds directly onto Handsome Jack Riptor, and Handsome Jack Riptor managed to put 1 wound directly back onto Golkor with reactionary attacks. From there, I then have my Sepsimus the Plague Swarm, which is my other champion, my other underboss. He does try to throw directly attacks with his last cutter directly into the hull of the Cargo 8 Ridge Hauler for the Rumbler, but unfortunately for me though, I rolled Snake Eyes on my attacks, so because of that, nothing much really happened from there. And I didn't really feel like sending up Effective Fly Blown because she might fail her initiative test, so I decided to kind of call off the rest of my activations. And that pretty much makes up the action phase for turn number 1. So because of that, we go directly into the end phase. Nobody panics, no one bottle tests, and that takes us directly to the top of turn number 2. So that being said, my sister, the kiddo, and I roll off for initiative to see which of us will be going first. Alright, so that takes directly to the top of turn number 2, and the kiddo gets to go next. She managed to get the initiative on this one. So the first thing she did, of course, is she activated Handsome Jack Riptor, put his Overseer ability directly onto Vi. Now, Vi charged directly into Golkark the Butcher, managed to put that guy seriously injured. He also fell off the vehicle as well. Managed to smash him with the Arc Hammer. And then for her second set of activations, she then charged directly into Festivus the Bellman, my leader. Managed to put 3 wounds onto him as well. Now, luckily for me, though, I do get to counterattack, so because of that, I did strike back with my twin Arc Welders. Managed to put her out of action with an out cold results, because she will make a full recovery, but she can no longer participate in this battle report, which is actually kind of bad for my opponent, because now the kid only has Handsome Jack Riptor, the Rumbler left, as well as Tango and Cash for vehicles as well. So that pretty much makes up her activations up to this point. So with that being said, we now follow through with my activations. Alright, so continuing on with turn number 2 for my activations. The first person activates first is Festivus the Bellman. Festivus the Bellman does a basic action to finally finish off Handsome Jack Riptor. Managed to put a humiliating injury onto him, so because he would lose 1 leadership as well as 1 cool. And then did a basic action move directly towards where Lemonhead is located at the very last of his gangers on board the vehicle. Meanwhile, for the rest of my group activations, I then moved up Flotsam. Flotsam did try to move up forward to try to fire his grenade launcher directly into Tango and Cash. Unfortunately for me, though, I missed my shot, and to add insult to injury, I also rolled an ammo roll on that one, so because he will not be able to fire for the rest of the game. So that part was really humiliating. Meanwhile, over here on the left-hand side as well, I then had Sepsimus, the Plague Sworn. He actually attacked with his basic action with his last cutter as well as Augmatic Fist directly into the Rumbler. Managed to put 4 wounds onto it as well, putting glancing hits directly onto the engine and making the vehicle stall at the exact same time, which is absolutely fantastic. So things right now are not looking really good right now for the kiddo, so because of that, we go directly to the top of the kiddo's turn for her next activation. Alright, so that brings directly to the rest of turn number 2. So for the rest of the activations, the kiddo then had her vehicle, Tango and Cash, kind of pull back as well as flip around. I did try to fire a heavy bolt directly into Flotsam. Unfortunately, she rolled a 1 for a hit roll. She rolled an ammo check as well, so because of that, things are not looking very good right now for the kiddo as well. Now, for the rest of the activations, of course, I then had, Effective Fly Blown, dismount off the vehicle in order to help out Golgok the Butcher, to help him out with his recovery phase. At the same time, Lemonhead did try to fire his grenade launcher using a crack grenade directly at Festivus the Bellman, but unfortunately, from there, he missed his shot, so just kind of flew wide. Nothing much happened there. From there, during the end phase, unfortunately for the kiddo, she did fail her bottle test because that her gang does voluntarily bottle out. At the same time, though, I did try to help out Golgok the Butcher with the assistance managed to get a flesh wound, so he's perfectly fine. However, though, The kiddo decided at this point to voluntarily bottle out of the game because of all the injuries she's taken this far. So because of that, pretty much ends turn number 2 of this game with a victory for the Chainbreakers. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, go directly to the After Action Report because this battle report is now officially over.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
Alright, so now it's time for the After Action Report. So first of all, let's start off with the jury. For injuries on this one, they did suffer 2 injuries on this. Handsome Jack Riptor suffered a humiliating injury, so he goes and recover and he loses 1 point in his leadership as well as 1 point in his cool. And then we have Jinx. She also suffered a head injury. She loses 1 point of her willpower as well as 1 point of her intelligence. Now as for advancements, no members of this gang advance at this time, and from her territory she earns 1 point of reputation as well as 25 credits from her 2 territories, the Baked Expanse as well as the Ore Road. Now continuing on, of course, we go directly to the trading post. She decided to take all 25 credits and place them directly into her stash. Her reputation, she earned 1 point of reputation from her territories, but since she bottled out, she also loses 1 point of reputation as well, which gives her a grand total of 1 point of reputation in total. Her current record now is at 0 wins and 1 loss, and my sister's gang rating now is at 2,400 points. Now moving on to my gang, the Chainbreakers. I managed to win this one. For injuries, I didn't suffer any injuries on this one, so I'm perfectly fine, and I didn't actually have any advancements either. Now for my territory, I do have Raiders Refuge, the Deeps, as well as Croc Pass was the new one I actually captured from this, and that gives me a grand total of 15 credits. Now once I took Croc Pass, I can now make the Crater Run, which is a trade route that actually goes around the outskirts of the territory, and earn 3d6 times 10 credits at the end of every single battle. So because I was able to raise 100 credits from that one as well, which is absolutely fantastic. Now for the Dark Ritual, because I've dedicated myself to Nurgle, I decided to use Golgok the Butcher. He was randomly chosen as the vessel for the ceremony. You earn 3 points of experience and also earn the favor of Nurgle, which means that once per end phase I can reroll 1 recovery die as well. Now from the trading post, I got 115 credits from my territories. I also got 90 credits from the scenario, gave myself 205 credits. With those 205 credits, I spent 40 of them for an Archaeotech Automantic Reactor for my vehicle, the Dire Song, giving me +2 to my movements. Now it's movement 7, so it's a hella wicked fast heavy vehicle. I also recruited another Lobo slave named Tulok the Butcher. He's got an armored undersuit, a hazard suit, a 2-handed axe, as well as a stem slick stash for 155 credits. I then took the remaining 10 credits and I placed it directly into my stash. Now for my reputation, I got 1 point represented territories as well as 2 from the scenario, giving me a grand total of 4 points of reputation in total. My new record now is at 1 win and 0 losses, and my new gang rating now is at 2,595 points. So that's good to do for this, you guys. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. You guys' input is valuable to us as always. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest greatest hobby news related to this channel. That's good for this week, guys. We'll catch you guys next one. Peace out and stay classy.